After a great demo, I couldn't wait to jump right into the full game. So much so that I put off playing Pragmata, and you know how much I love Capcom by now. So, do I regret my choice?
Absolutely not.
I have to say, I had a good feeling about this one from the demo, and boy am I happy I trusted my gut. Was it perfect? No. Do I think it's worthy of Best Indie Game of the Year? Well, that's a tough one. Why don't we find out? Replace is an indie game brought to life by Sad Cat Studios, taking place in the 80s of an alternate retro cyberpunk universe, where disaster fell and the Phoenix Corporation took charge of building a city, abandoning anyone left or thrown outside. We play as Warren, a genius who co-created a valuable AI system they named Reach with his best friend Steven. Steven passes from illness, which causes Reach and Warren to fuse together after a malfunction caused by grief, effectively giving Reach access to humanity through Warren. Because of the incident, we end up having to flee from law enforcement and find ourselves outside of the wall, having to deal with what the world left behind. We meet some not-so-friendly folks and get saved by a cool guy with long blonde hair, just like the 80s. The gnarly guy that saves us is Tempest, our new best friend. We hit it off and we follow him to a sanctuary that they've managed to put up, finally making it past where the demo left off. That's pretty much the events of the prologue, leaving the rest of the game for us to experience. In total, the game is made up of 10 chapters, roughly taking about an hour each. My total time to complete it was a little less than 10 hours, a pretty good length in my opinion. The pacing throughout was pretty good for the most part. I won't talk spoilers since I want you to play it for yourself, but I will say that the first third of the game felt like a bit of a drag at times. Then it really picks up towards the middle, followed by me not wanting to put my controller down for the last third of the game. So Reach and Warren find themselves in a station that some survivors have turned into a safe haven of sorts. There's a sizable population here, and they do their best to make the most out of one of the only places that has electricity. Throughout the station you can interact with a few NPCs, learning more about how they get by and even accepting a few tasks from them. From what I've played, they're mostly fetch quests, going here or talking to someone else and coming back. But they do give you some good rewards like health or damage boosts, and a lot of them have some pretty good stories that really make you sympathize with these people. While here, Reach looks for a plan to get back into the city so that he, or it, can give Warren his body back. Tempest offers his help, and we prepare to make an attempt to sneak our way past the wall and back into the lab. Overall, I have to give the writers credit. They came up with a solid story here, and finding out about Warren's past and the lore of this world was the highlight of my experience. Exploring around and finding notes and old tapes about what led the world to be the way it is kept me engaged. I don't think any other game has made me want to read everything and piece together what happened. All the notes we find are displayed on our handy wingman. See what they did there? The wingman serves as our main hub of information, reminding us of our objectives and holding all the notes we find scattered around. Just like its real-world counterpart, it even holds music, which I'm 90% sure I can't play without a copyright strike. The records we find piece together what exactly happened here. Taking place in the 80s, there's also references to actual historical events that took place. Warren and Reach's relationship was also pretty great to find out about. Throughout the game, Reach sees Warren's memories, finding out alongside the player how Reach was born and for what purpose. Warren himself is pretty interesting too, being a decent guy in a city full of nasty people. He wasn't fueled by power or money and was just determined to make a useful tool. The other characters are also highlights. Tempest is honestly the purest soul in this world, and there's loads of fun on top of that. He's a hothead, but with a heart of gold. My favorite character in the game was Veronica, who I just related to so much and found her past intriguing. She's also Tempest's girlfriend, so things got uncomfortable fast. I'm kidding. We're still bros. I hope. Reach being an AI in a human body paves the road for one of my personal favorite AI learning about humanity stories. It's probably a trope that we've seen 100 times, but here it's simple yet effective. And they do it in a touching way that makes it stand out and sticks with you. So the story is one of the highlights, alongside what you're probably already guessing: the atmosphere. This is what really justifies the cost of admission for me. The game adopts a 2.5D level design with pixel graphics for all the characters. The whole game has a throwback vibe with the 80s aesthetic and retro game feel, for better or worse. The environments are all breathtaking, and when it wants to, the scale of the backdrops really comes through and makes you admire what they've done. There aren't a ton of levels, and you find yourself backtracking a good amount of the time, but with it being short in length, it didn't bother me much. They nail every single level that they take you to. They each have a slightly different vibe and are different enough for it to be fresh. The station especially feels very homey, and the amount of characters walking around makes it feel alive in contrast to the rest of the game. The 2.5D level design makes this game stand out and is likely what gets most people's attention. The subtle changes in the environment while you walk around makes the world feel even more immersive, and the camera changing focus to the foreground makes it feel especially cinematic. Being 2.5D also means that you aren't restricted to just walking forward the whole game. The added depth in certain sections helps keep things interesting and adds more variety to the gameplay. So that means the gameplay is good, right? Well... Alright. I'm not saying the gameplay's bad. I'm just saying that the gameplay makes me bad at the game. There's a difference. I'll be honest, as much as I looked forward to this game, no amount of excitement could have made me overlook how frustrated it made me while playing it. It's pretty obviously a skill issue, but man, I did not have that much fun with it. The majority of the game is light platforming that progresses over time, so it starts out with just jumping and swinging, then gives you more obstacles to deal with. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Just one thing. Remember how this is trying to mimic a retro game? Well, they did just that. And while it's fun to look at, it kind of feels clunky. Don't get me wrong, it could have been a whole lot worse. But I'm just pointing out that at times the timing could be a little unforgiving, just like the old school games. I can't tell you how many times I ended up jumping too early because I couldn't quite eye it right. Again, most likely a skill issue, but I digress. This unfortunately translates to the combat as well. Overall, it's basic and not too much of a challenge, but I just can't help but nitpick a bit and wish that it was just a bit smoother. I tried to justify it by reminding myself that I'm playing as an older man, but then I'd see him perform the most insane acrobatics and wonder why he can't be just a smidge faster. Now, combat itself is pretty good for what it is. It's a good beat 'em up and pretty fun. Reach beats the hell out of the foes with this cool baton that doubles as a gun, and makes use of the tools he finds along this journey to quickly adapt to the variety of enemies that are introduced throughout the game. The battles themselves are perfectly fine given that it's not the main focus of the experience. Encounters are pretty nice to play through. It's a bit slower than I'd like, only because it starts to feel a little button mashy from time to time. Overall, it was pretty serviceable for it being about maybe 30 to 40% of the game. The rest of the game is purely taking in the sights and navigating the breathtaking environments. You make your way from location to location, trying to get closer to your goal of getting Warren his body back. Along the way, you solve a number of puzzles that progress you through the levels. These puzzles are certainly brain scratchers and may or may not make you want to look up the answers. Not me though. I definitely solved them myself. Platforming takes up the majority of the game, having to climb your way up buildings and sneaking past sensors. Unfortunately, this was my biggest gripe with the game. Not because it was bad, just because I'm not a huge platformer fan. By the time I got halfway through, I was just tired of climbing and swinging my way to the next destination. It's not enough to bring the game down in my ranking, but it's just worth noting. It's not like it didn't spread things out, it's just that I got sick of these sections quicker than most. The platforming itself is well done, it's not challenging by any means, but getting the timing right can be a pain in some sections and makes you just want to yell at Reach to hurry the hell up. But overall, it's a breeze to get past these sections, and my only gripe is that they're everywhere. Too much platforming being my biggest criticism is honestly a testament to how much of a great job they did with this one. Everything else is well done and serves the game perfectly. If I had to summarize it, Replace is a feast for the eyes and great food for the mind. It's thought-provoking enough to keep a story game enjoyer entertained and fun enough for almost anyone to pick up and enjoy. It's not the most fun game I've played, but it's also not trying to be. The gameplay accomplishes what it sets out to do, getting you from point A to B while giving you something to do in between. The puzzles make you think, and the stealth sections help you slow down to appreciate the environments. The graphics are great, and the use of the 2.5D levels really helps it stand out. The camera work makes it cinematic and draws you into the cutscenes, making you enjoy the ride even more. There are no voice lines, which might be a bummer for some, but the story is interesting enough to make you want to pay attention anyway. This game is geared more for people who value a good story over fun gameplay. It has both, but one clearly shines more than the other. At the end of the day, this is one of my favorite indie games that I've played. Not just of this year, but of all time. It unfortunately isn't the instant classic that I hoped it would be, but it definitely earns its spot in your library. At only $20, it's a fantastic way to spend a weekend. Not that it means anything, but it has my seal of approval. Guaranteed fresh. I hope you try the game out for yourself, and if you already have, what did you think? Hopefully you ended up enjoying it even more than I did. And if you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on it, why not let me know by leaving a like and sharing? I'd really appreciate it. And consider subscribing for more videos just like this one. Now I guess I gotta try Pragmata, huh? Unless something else catches my attention. Oh dear God.